Okay, so upon what else I've been thinking about is when you come to understand amongst what I've said in the last video that your belief in there being opposite sides of the coin, to whereas society is this instead of that, or it is that instead of this, but in truth, what's helping to shape society into something that is or isn't, but amongst understanding amongst all of this, now the belief system here is where there is a darker evil to where I believe a society psychopath. So, of there being an evil that's out there, branched from fake people, they even do state too that they are fake, they are not real. But in actuality, though, if you really think about it, are they real? Because they live as you do, they like as you do, they exist amongst you like they do, but do they really care? That's the question. So when you think about this, you think about a more darker sense of evil that creates symbolic fictional characters such as Dark Samus from the Metroid Prime series. So that kind of darkness, as I'm saying today, is not fire, it's more generated off of the theory of ice. So when you think about how race of and physical violence is seen in this day and age, subjected to a greater evil such as this, it's even said in the Bible, Satan wanted God's attention, he wanted to remain forever in the right hand man of God. So eventually God creates humans, supposedly his greatest creation. Satan was engulfed with jealousy and anger. Satan attempted to overthrow God because of this, perhaps. So, understand something. They say Satan's greatest weakness is love. Perhaps it's love because he felt unloved by the way and time humans were created. Thusly, he is trying to regain the love that was once solely his by God. Probably created something darker to shed light in God's eyes, but Jesus casted him out. Satan wishes only to be loved. So Satan, I don't think, was profoundly gay. I think Satan had a mentally developed female mind, or, for instance, was a narcissist represents. But see, when I think of satanic, though, there's still people that do wish to love. So they are negative people, but would it be considered as semi-narcissism? So when you think about how ego tends to develop over the person's mind, state of mind, such as the desire to stand out, to people that make them wanting to be who they are, such as how women would probably say, and might just be why they like to see themselves more as an attractive person over the man, but still they do care, or some just do not, about their appearance, so they wish to profoundly change that. But not for their ego, but for their heart, soul, and charms. Looks too can be deceiving, not in a sophisticated sense, but can be. So what I've done is that I did depictions on my blog, whereas I'm starting to think that the cross is possibly more seen as an alignment spectrum from top to bottom, left to right. Whereas I've done research too, which I believe that there is another religion out there called Mandaism, which is what we are seeing today in Islam and Iraq and all these other countries. I'll get to that in a moment, but just as Jesus is the top, being heaven, cosmological, God's kingdom, bottom is seen as hell. Semi-narcissism, Satan, the holy sinner, cross. So, us being on the left side would be real codependency, good people, light, today's Christian. Whereas on the right side would be fake, malignant narcissism, negatorial people, darkness and dwellers, shadow, psychologically speaking. So, oops, sorry. Time travel, the answer to time travel, folks, is not in the pyramids. I don't think it's in the pyramids. to what is to be said. Now, comparing this to the pyramid, but treat the cross like fold up origami after what's been said. But I do have a friend on Facebook. His name's William Vaughn. I'm going to quote him real quick here. For I believe that the symbolic proportion to the cross is that of a pyramid. So when you look at the back of a dollar bill, United States dollar bill, you notice that there's a pyramid with an eye. The eye is like representing a person almost, but notice the pyramid points up. So would it be possible that the cross is like a fold-up origami piece that forms the sides of the pyramids? Maybe that's what the Egyptians had in mind, maybe? So when they tend to think that heaven's real, maybe they are pointing up to the sky saying that heaven is up there, but there are people today too who think it's just scientific, that something else is out there, not us. But notice we have not seen alien life really. Only we have seen traces of UFOs in media, especially, but most of the time, though, we do tend to speculate maybe it's not really UFOs, it's actually our aircrafts in the United States or even other countries that are flying about as we speak. As there are stories, too, where people tend to think that UFOs are actually seen as maybe people of us from the future. But the thing is, though, we've never invented time travel yet here, folks. So when you think about that, is it a paradox? So, what is real? What is not real? When you think about that part. So, with time travel, it's just quite simple. What we can achieve, quoting my friend here, a business friend, it's so simple that we can achieve it, that we make it complicated and therefore cannot achieve it. Our minds do it daily, through every second, minute, and hour of the day. We travel to the past, and we even travel to the present, and even travel to the future. Our minds change the past, change what was said, what actions took place, and more. We warp the past, we make the past different. Sometimes this changes our mind, making it the past affects our present forward living lives in a major degree. Sometimes not at all. Yes, it even affects the persons involved in through travels. Either they will no longer remember or they will begin to agree that they share a like memory. So when you think about it here, folks, when you think about what pyramid is pointing up to, which is a symbolic term for heaven, now what I'm thinking here, folks, is that maybe Jesus isn't telling us to become independent. Maybe he's telling us to become interdependent. Life over death. Heaven, good people, bad people, left behind, explaining paranormal phenomena, ghosts. Jesus sends the bad from heaven. Reincarnation until you get it right. Explained, maybe? But thing that really bothers me, though, why is it that our scientists, spiritualists in this world, see spiritualists seen in paranormal investigations with Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, all those other shows, they know what the paranormal is because they sense it in their minds. They bring it out to tell you what, this is a spirit here, this is female, she's like 13 years old, she's been in a tragic state, she got her head bitten off by a shark 2 years ago. She's now haunting you because, she wants to bite the shark's head off too. But when you think about it, though, how are they really drawing that stuff out, really? How do they know that's there? How do they know it exists? And for my next video here, it is going to trick you more like it's going to sound crazy because it actually is. Because ultimately, though, what I'm pointing out here is the verification that there is another evil among us. And in my blog post, I posted here too, especially the video of Jesus Christ from the movie. I forgot which movie it is here. It's the 7 last words of Jesus Christ on the cross. Unaware of symbolic portrayal, I do believe that mankind has turned Jesus into a symbolic epitaph to society, still stumbling upon the riddles inside the Bible. When the theory is coined, the truth is seen. Jesus did truly die for the sake of mankind's love and arrogance. Unaware of this, humanity still struggles today to build on Christianity, for everything points that the Antichrist is in the Bible, is a huge scratcher that points people to worship Satan instead and think that Satan is going to save them. He or she, I do not believe, will. This is not an attack on any religion. This is actually an expression to symbolize huge portrayal and meaning. Because I believe that reconciliation is involved in my theory, because the more that you tend to come out to it, you start to think more on symbolism, to whereas being the key to whereas what I'm talking about here is actually a point possible that to restore relationship balance is seen through jewelry. So maybe that's the case. Maybe this is not this is all about controlling people's minds, because frankly that's what demonic possession is. It controls your mind. I do believe that people can come to terms with interdependence. If my theories such as this can be used to advance human civilization for the right purposes, as I do hold interests to many things outside of Christianity as imposed, liking Christianity. So as I'm seeing myself as agnostic, or seeing myself as a Christian, but still I do believe that there is a God out there. And I do believe now that I've come back to Christianity that I'm starting to think clearly that Jesus Christ is real. But when I believe in the rapture, folks, viewers, I don't think it's really a spiritual uplifting the way how we've depicted it in the Bible. Because of, you gotta realize this, but I am possibly one of the only people online right now at the moment who actually has coined the Antichrist like this and bulked up some research linking to other research speculations that I believe that the goddess that was specified in the Dark Bible that we have not seen of might be in relation to how Jesus died. Because when you scratch your head, Romans killed Jesus, but what existed back then? What was around during that time? When did Catholics come around? How did they start to see Christianity as this instead of that? So, and though it does come from their past, I do believe that from their past, which after accidentally killing, maybe they accidentally killed Jesus, but it would explain why Catholics are around today, because the evil that we're seeing today is associated with Greek mythology, ancient Roman Greece. And the more research that I've accumulated so far, I'm starting to believe that goddess, as been seen lately in our fiction references, might actually be the goddess Nyx. When you translate it in English, it is named NYX, as in Nyx, seen in Persona 3. It references the moon. It doesn't reference the sun. It references the moon. So when you think about that here, Nyx is the primordial goddess of the night, bestowing upon nightmare, darkness, all of that essential stuff. And quite frankly, when you think about it, these gods or goddesses in Proto-Genoi, which I've started to notice these gods have come from, they tend to think that they are the creators of existence. But in actuality, when you look at them, they seem more prone to darkness than you realize. That what they want to do is destroy the planet rather than help it. So, when you think about all this, Nyx is still around today in symbolic references to fiction, such as being the final boss to Persona 3 and the video game, but you got to realize this here, people. What your children are looking up here today, what they're referencing off of, that after they turn 18, as they always say, but they're responsible for what they get themselves into. It's not you as the parent, but in actuality, the way how you raised your child, that is partially your fault. Because you were in charge of that person's mentality. Fuck? Listen?